Hello and welcome to Peaches and Suits, a podcast where two useless lesbians attempt to talk about all of the ladies and soap operas that have driven us mad over the years in a coherent manner. Maybe, possibly, hopefully. I thought, shit, I have to add another word.
You also changed it to lesbians. I'm totally down for that.
Oh, fuck, I did, didn't I? Oh,
We have to leave it now.
oh God. It's because I have both written down. And I've forgotten I haven't introduced myself.
Who are you?
I'm StephKT, capital K, capital T.
And I'm Chaos.
I love when you went that thing. And I'm Chaos.
I don't know. 5 or 6?
What? What?
Carla von Lahnstein? So.
Ah.
Y juntas somos Mercedes.
Lexa and I... Lexa. Oh my fucking God.
Right, today we're going to talk about just one thing. Well, technically, yeah, just one thing.
Two beautiful things.
Two beautiful things, because we're going with whatever's in the forefront of our minds at the time, because we're useless lesbians. Hence the intro. So we're sticking to an Indian web series called The Married Woman. We'll let you know if you haven't seen it. We'll let you know how to access it. Probably at the end, but this will be full of spoilers if you haven't seen it. So
Spoiler alert.
yes.
High alert.
High alert. We do apologize if you haven't. Maybe you're not bothered. And
I wouldn't be bothered, but you know.
yeah, I don't think it would lessen your enjoyment of it, technically speaking. Because I know for myself, if it's gay, I'm gonna go there anyway. So yeah, where do we begin with this one? Well, like I'll say, thank goodness that Chaos decided to watch it because I would have ended up talking about it anyway. And it just sort of happened, I guess, because it was on both of our radars. I mean, Chaos actually reminded me about it because I feel like I saw the trailer months ago.
It's been ages. Yeah. I think we talked about, I've been waiting for this forever. And then I remember them saying it was coming out in March. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to watch that. And I was like, how?
No
I
idea.
didn't really quite. Yeah. So thank you to, I think, Suhani for making that happen for me, figuring that out and sending me all that. I'm glad that we actually watched it. Did you watch it like a week before me or?
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, about that, because I'd watched the first episode because I didn't even twig. Oh, it's up, and it's available to watch. And then I didn't realize how easy it would be to watch. I thought it was going to be finding subtitles and a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, that's kind of what I assumed. And I tweeted, I think, about it actually. And someone responded, was it you? If it was you, I'm gonna laugh. About like the subtitles being included, and I was like, I can't see them. I don't know what's happening. And then I gave up for a while.
Yes, I think that was me. Yeah, because I just probably Googled it. I was like, there it is, available on there. And then I foolishly thought it was free. Not that it should be, but I was like, oh wow, this is free. And I only watched the first episode, and then I found out you had to subscribe, but that was okay. It's not a lot of money, and that was it. And then I sort of just binged it somehow. But then I'm not making GIFs like Chaos, so. But it was tough. I think I was just a bit floored. I was just sitting there, sort of stunned silence, like, oh, okay. And it was just a joy. And then I was like, and it's like I woke up and had to rewatch it and really take my time. And then, wow, I really took my time. Because I couldn't get past episode 3, 4, and then 5.
Episode 4, I think I watched episode 4 across 2 full days. And I didn't even watch it all the way through because I tweeted at you and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why are they kissing? Anyway.
God. Okay, sure. As I said, the episodes aren't even that long. So the fact that, say, Chaos took 2 days to watch 30 minutes of content. Oh God, just says to you, just a warning sign if you haven't seen it, that you will get stuck. Right. So, as I say, I don't even know where to begin with this, but there's so much, I think, trying to be said. There's so many messages trying to be put across. I'm
So
mostly
you haven't
positive.
read the book, right?
No.
Okay,
I looked
neither
at
have
it,
I.
but, no, it just looked a bit too different for me to what I've seen, and I think it will all just get messy in my mind. Not that I wouldn't recommend it. I have, I can't say yes or no to that, but now that I've seen this, that's it, and then hopefully, obviously, we'll get a second series, which will veer off completely, as there's only one book.
So the first season was mostly just based on the book, and then you think they're gonna just completely go?
Well, they've already gone off a little bit because it's set in the 70s, and I think
And they put it in the 90s.
Yeah, and Astha is the
Interesting.
artist, not Peeps. And yeah, and I think it's more political, so I don't know how much of the romance is really written. But I think she gave her full support, Manju Kapoor, to the show. So, and I say I think Peeps was years younger than Astha as well. So, not that we're against an age gap, obviously. I mean, if you've listened to us.
Of course not. I think they kind of imply that their ages are different, but it certainly doesn't look like an age gap with the actors that they chose. But I definitely think she's got like 2 not infant children. So childs.
Well, it's that thing, like we said with Clarina, just because if one has children and is married, then it's sort of made to seem, like she's the older, experienced.
She's the MILF.
The MILF, yeah, of the two. The other one who's free and easygoing. I mean, I suppose that's my first parallel right there, is to Clarina, I guess. Because I was sort of thinking about
the
that.
artist, the mom with kids.
Yeah. And if you really were pondering whether to watch
tall, gangly one too.
You have the trope. One of them does get painted. One of them gets painted by the other one. So you have that. Don't worry, one of them is sketching or drawing or painting. The most classic lesbian trope is included in this. So
did you see the Saturday Night Live sketch on Ammonite? Is this what you're referring to? Yeah.
So I was like, because as soon as I saw Peeps was an artist, I was like, oh, come on, well, she's got to paint her at some point. I was like, oh, of course, yeah. So they've ticked. That's the first box to tick. How can we put it into the script? She's going to sketch her or something, yeah. But it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a whole moment,
No, they didn't do that. It was sort of, it was before they were together.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was thinking of the other one. Like,
wait, what?
And she gives it to her in like episode.
Oh, yeah. You don't
Yeah.
really see it that much, so that's why I was.
No.
But yeah, the one where she gave it as an anniversary gift, and it was like, "Hey, what's not in it?"
He's the light from the left. But anyway, yeah, no. For me, I was just so. I know there was the threat of divorce and etc., but it didn't seem in a way like it was a big deal, which made it rather nice.
You know, when she threw those papers down, and it was like all her blood tests after he's gone off and dilly-dallied, I definitely thought those were divorce papers, and I was like, oh my God, is she serving him with divorce papers? Because she just kind of like tossed this file at him.
That's true. I didn't even think of that.
Oh, really? In the first moment, I was like, oh my God, this is it. She's leaving him. And then I was like, wait, can you just do that? I don't know. Like, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was like, oh, hang on, this is the 90s, so it's not like the threat of the 50s or something. I know he refers to the law when they're in front of his friends, and he's trying to sort of loosely threaten her with imprisonment or something, but it's not. I don't know, I don't feel that it's genuine, so it was nice that there wasn't such a foreboding of death. There was a certain comfort level. This is what I've got to.
I felt I was actually a little bit like, oh man, like this is when he at the dinner or lunch, when he was saying all of that and bringing it up and being like, oh, homosexuality is disgusting. You're going to go rot in jail because of this code, whatever. And then was talking about a specific example of someone else though. I thought,
oh, sorry.
well, yeah, I that was a little hard to. I didn't really understand it. I took it like you said you did, which is that it was just like kind of a veiled, not so veiled threat, and like not actually. He's not actually gonna. What is he gonna do about it? Like go report his wife and say what? Like there's no evidence. There's no really proof of anything so far. Just that, like this is before the plot twist.
The plot twist, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it all just comes down to the threat of the judgment, you know, her fear of judgment and losing the children, which again, I know we've seen plenty of times. But I think this series, my overall feeling is that it's meant to be thoughtful and helpful even to so many people, because I feel like this one is different in that it needed to be made. And obviously not even for people like us, just people in maybe Astha's position or maybe even like in Peeps' position. But, you know, because she really, maybe we should say she does break the fourth wall, which I wasn't expecting. And so we kind of got her speaking to us, the audience, sporadically throughout the series. And I feel like she really attempts to speak out. Yeah, like Fleabag or Gentleman Jack, you know, and I was like, oh, great, because we get her inner thoughts and feelings and what is her conflict, and she really is trying to be honest. It's not always great because she's a bit stuck and that, but and I might disagree with her, like right at the end, like the last scene. But I'll leave that, as I say, try and leave the...
I'm trying to remember what she said in that. Did she look at the camera in that scene?
When she's sitting in the car with her husband. And
she's leaving with him.
Yeah, just sort of the last scene as such. And
he says, "Where's my shirt?"
Yeah.
I can't believe the very last phrase of the whole series is... Where's my shirt?
It's so fitting though, isn't it? I feel sorry for her. But she's made her bed. You know, that's her. As she said, that's her decision. So technically, she isn't trapped. You know, we've seen other especially lesbian period dramas where the one with the husband is trapped and that's it for life. But no, she does have the ability, and that's what obviously I'm hoping for a second series.
So I want to theorize about what's going to happen in the second season, but we haven't really even talked about the first season yet, so maybe we should do that. The interesting thing about this is that I keep thinking of different parallels as I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, you know, that's like a lesbian thing, like in movies. I was like, oh, I wonder if they watched Imagine Me and You before they made this, or I wonder if and then I'm like, oh, is this just the lesbian experience, or is this just something that filmmakers keep putting into movies, or I guess shows in this case, that people think lesbians experience? I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of great things in this show. There's so many really great moments, which is why I couldn't just watch through. I had to stop and be like, screenshot. I'm making a GIF. And it takes a fucking hour to make a GIF. And I have 20 of them now. So
I knew it. I knew she'd want it.
There's so many good moments that just you can't capture though. I mean, there's a lot of really uncomfortable tension that as soon as you take out the audio and make it into a GIF, that you lose all of the heat or the
that sums it up.
The friction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, okay, so someone I know just started watching it yesterday and wrote back and was like, look at all it's you promised me gay shit. This is so heterosexual, and a screenshot of the very first episode is there's a little bit of a heterosexual hurdle because it starts a little bit earlier in the timeline, right? So it's in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh,
when it starts. Yeah, and it's like very. I mean, she's happily married. She loves her husband. He seems to love her. Like they seem cute and like attracted to each other, and
Sure, yeah, physically and
yeah. So I mean,
I mean,
it's interesting. They do it like a little. It's not like a one time hop. They do several smaller time hops.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's now firmly in the time that the actual show is going to take place. And then you see like, okay, we've progressed a little bit more. The husband and wife are now a little bit more distant. Now here's where we are. And this is like how it is. And then that's where the show really starts. And you can see like it stays in that timeline. And he actually, I don't know, he doesn't stay the same though. He escalates from like indifferent to like a jackass.
Even his journey is so up and down, and I don't mean like in terms of, it's not bad writing or anything. His personality is so I don't know, he's just like a pinball. He's just all over the place. He's kind of a bit erratic for me. Sort of wanting her 1 second to, as you say, being indifferent, apathetic, Mr. Toilet Seat, concentrate on the toilet seat. like he just, and then back around again, he's interested, he's not interested. Oh, and then obviously he's cheating on her throughout all of this. Like he's like a child.
See that?
Oh,
I mean, I agree with the child part, but I didn't see him like gain interest and then lose interest and then gain interest. He seemed to like steadily progress from where he was to kind of loathing, I think, by the end.
I think what I mean by that is probably, like Peeps said in the show, is that men can have like a sixth sense that their wives are slipping away, and she sort of says, they come back, sort of thing. It's like they know, not that he wasn't aware of her cheating yet, but I think that's it. And so he's showing, and then because she's trying to show interest in him sometimes, the whole gay panic thing, as they do, and yet it was again a surprise that he was like, no, I don't want to have sex. Like, he's so distracted. But yeah, I felt like as he felt her maybe slipping away, that he wanted to show, oh, my wife's actually into me a little bit. Maybe I should, but maybe that was just out of marital duty or some obligation, that whole second Saturday thing of, oh, it's time, to have sex for 30 seconds. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh God.
Maybe I'm being too nice to the husbands again. I don't want anyone to think I like this bloke, because I really don't. I could slap him from here to Timbuktu. But
yeah, even his vulnerability moment that they ended up having sex, I was just like, what a manipulative piece of shit. Like 100% didn't believe his little whining thing, and I think it's something that people do. I almost said men, but like I think it's something that people do when they're worried that they can't keep the thing they want to keep. They'll try and manipulate the thing to make it more obligatory, or like make you feel, I think it was meant to make her feel guilty, because look at me, I'm so vulnerable and like I need you.
Yeah, I think,
and then it worked.
Her attention is not on him, and obviously normally her attention is all about him and the family, and her responsibilities are here. Oh my God, why is she not concentrating on us? And yeah, you're right, it's manipulation. God,
that was what made me think of Elena Undone too, which is like it must be because if you're married and you have like housewifely duties that if you're not doing them, how are they getting done? So it's like people will notice if you're making the kids pack their own lunch boxes or something. Like, they're going to notice that you're not just like always there. If you have a life outside of the home, then it's pretty obvious, because you're just not there whenever they call you for tea or for whatever. And
and her responsibilities are immense. And I know there must be so many women even today with the same level of responsibility, which is just, I can't even imagine. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised that she had a job. I didn't know that.
I can't believe that. I don't like. Women are amazing.
She's educated, and she's juggling everything. But I think that's another good tick in the box for me. And again, like what
nobody respects her intelligence, though.
No,
like literally nobody respects her intelligence.
She's just not seen. Yeah. She's just like she's a maid. You know how you're meant to just scuttle about, do your chores and everything. But not even, definitely not heard, but not even seen. And like you say, you probably should warn people. The first 2 episodes are really heterosexual. I mean, but again, I didn't know going into this the whole Ajaz part of it, like Astha falling for him. I was like, what?
Oh my God, can we please talk about that? Because my girlfriend was watching it with me a little bit in the very beginning, and so it slowly started looking like, I was like, oh no, because she was watching him. There's this montage of like her watching him and kind of like lovingly watching him, and I was like, oh my God, is she gonna fall in love with this man?
It's me.
Anyway, my girlfriend was like, no, they can't fall in love. Like, what? I thought it was gay. And I was like, they're gonna fall. Oh my God, they're falling in love. Fuck. Because for a second it looked like he was gonna kiss her back. Yeah. No, they did that on purpose. Because I was like, no, you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah, it's true. I was like, wow, this is not going in the direction I thought. I thought Peeps was going to be single, and there was only going to be one guy in this whole in this whole story and whatever. And then, as you say, as it progressed, I was like, no way, no, she really is. And then, obviously, only in the second episode, as it was going on, I was like, oh shit, he might die. Is he going to die? Because again, I was like, right, we've got this guy as well to the end of this, end of the first season. I thought,
no, I knew he was going to die because it's in the trailer.
I couldn't remember the trailer.
Yeah, because Peeplika's like, I've never been so pissed off with him than I was by him fucking dying.
Oh, you said that well. Maybe it's because you're American. It was like,
she has an American accent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love her dipping in and out.
That's my favorite part of the whole thing is the switch between, it's like seamlessly in English and Hindi. And I'm like, this is the best. Also, because I really enjoy language. And so I just keep like obsessing about the cognates, and then like it's either borrowed or because of the similar root between Hindi and Farsi. So I keep being like, oh, I know what this word is, and I know what this means. Like, it's the same word. And okay, stop. Okay, move on.
No, she is like, she's not even bilingual. She's like multilingual. Chaos is just her brain capacity, not like mine, but. It's still so lovely to listen to. It's been, like I said to Chaos even before we started, I've listened to the theme song 1,000,000 times. I'm still not sick of it.
It's so good.
And even the few other songs from the soundtrack, I've got it on Spotify. I'm there. They've sold it to me. But yeah, I have to fangirl a little bit about Peeps, seeing as we've mentioned Peeps. Like, even the last episode, and I was concentrating, but she's wearing this blue blouse. Her blouses are they're simple but effective. And
do we like the same woman in this show?
I don't know. I still feel pretty 50-50.
Yeah, I feel the same. I kept being like, she's so beautiful, and then the other one would be, I was like, oh, she's so beautiful.
That's it.
They're both just very gorgeous, and I like their voices.
Yeah, because when Astha is happy, especially like even at the end, and she's just and they're sort of floating around each other, so to speak, because they're in front of others. But she's just, her hair, and anyway, just looks so. But and then when Asta's in like Peeplika's clothes, like the shirts, amazing. Anyway, I got that out of my system. It just had to be said.
So you were, sorry I distracted you, but you were going to go down the Peeplika road and tell me about her.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, and I'm not going to say about her legs. Okay, I said it. But it's there, like in the shot. It's like telling you to look. But that whole scene, it's worth it to watch this, everyone, just for that one scene in episode 4.
Is that episode 4 too? I think it was also episode 4. Episode 4. Listen, if you only watch one episode in the whole show, I think episode 4, right?
It's and you've got to go into 5 because as Chaos
5
found
is
out,
good.
the kiss goes from 4 to 5.
I messed up so bad. I had only watched like 9 minutes and 50 seconds of episode 4, and I was making GIFs, and then I got distracted because I had to go to work. I got home from work and I couldn't remember if I had finished the episode or not. So I just went to episode 5 and I was like, why are they kissing? What's going on? So I like tweeted Steph and I was like, they're kissing. What did I miss? And you were like, well, they were kissing in episode 4 too. And I was like, what? So I had to go back.
Oh, God.
Anyway, spoiler, they're kissing in episode 4 and 5 and various other episodes because, honestly, I feel a little bit, I'd seen a couple of kind of lower quality GIFs of just random moments that didn't quite explain what was happening in the show before watching the show.
Yeah.
And so when I started watching it, I was like, there's so many like moments that could be GIFed. And then I got distracted because there's so much kissing. I mean, it's fairly chaste kissing, which is fine. And very sweet. But like there's so many, like I expected there to be just the one kiss in the whole series. And there was like several. There are several kisses.
Well, and the affection and intimacy was all a pleasant surprise. I know this isn't the first thing we've seen that's, queer for coming from India, but it does still kind of have a feel for me like it's one of those first steps. So as you say, I wasn't expecting a great deal of like skin even. I didn't know. And I know it's not on the telly, it's on the web, but I was still like, wow, okay. And grapes and just all those little touches were really nice. And speaking of kissing, again, I'm just shouting out the whole show, but the end of episode 5, I think is where Astha is like, nothing feels right. And I won't do her accent because that would be such a disservice and disrespectful, but it is beautifully said and it's repeated and then accept you. And then she sort of turns away for a second and then pulls Peeplika in for a kiss. And, beautiful.
I had seen that or part of that before watching the series as well. But I didn't know they kissed because they cut the kiss out. So I had seen the scene where she's like, nothing feels right. Nothing feels right. Nothing. Also, I quoted it incorrectly in my GIF. She says, except for you, not accept you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's easily done. Don't berate yourself. Who gives a chef's kiss? They're like top notch. But no, one thing I did want to point out, there's so many great quotes. Again, Chaos is normally the quote last, but I feel like they address many things that straight people think, like throughout the whole show. And when I think back to when I was younger, and luckily it happens less now, but those stupid questions of how do women do it? How is it real between, two people of the same sex? And there's just those
You've never had anyone ask you that?
No, that's what I mean. I had it so much when I was young. So much. Yeah. And even years after I'd come out, because when people first get to know you, they're like, oh, you're gay, and then they can't sort of help it. And I feel like they really try, with the writing, they really try, right, what would straight people say, or even ignorant people? And Astha even has those same questions of herself, and then realizes, oh no, that whole love is love, and like she says, beyond gender, none of that matters. It's as simple as that. It's just love at the end of the day. And I love again the dawning on her of that. Just like all those worries, and yeah, they all ask these daft things because they just don't understand. And again, that's one of the things I'm so pleased about, is that they try to, because I don't see that often, where they try to, what do dumb people when they think about love between people of the same sex. Let's say those daft questions. Sorry, I rambled on there, but I really, rewatching it, I was like, wow, they're really trying to hit home to those who have maybe never seen, a series like this where there's love between, because it's possible there are people who might have a negative reaction and are asking these questions of the show, and they're like answering them. Well, no, your criticism of this relationship is just bizarre, and wrong. Yeah,
it's an interesting not film choice, but it's an interesting choice to put the thing you're critiquing in a way in which it might not be seen as critique, right? Like nobody actively stands up to Hemant when he's saying this shit about crime and going to jail, you're disgusting. I mean, everyone who's sitting at that table is equally disgusted, and it leads into the other guy being like, well, just what do lesbians do? How do women do it without the bits that they need to do it with? I'm like, well, listen, they, like, me in my like 21st century self is sitting here going like, we do plenty fine, thank you. I mean, Asta's not in a place to speak up about that, obviously. As you mentioned, she's also kind of like, not quite sure herself. So it's not like she's going to be like a lesbian activist or anything. So it's interesting to me to cover topics like that when it's really hard to do that without just seem like, to me, it felt more like they were perpetuating that than critiquing it, because like the only one who sort of, I mean, you can see that she's upset by it, right? But it's not that she walks away from that scene where they have that and she's talking about it and she does the, fourth wall thing, talks to the camera and is like, it feels right. Like there's nothing wrong with it. But she's like kind of talking herself through it. And I think that, okay. So they kind of acknowledge it in that way, right? Where she does explain like, it's fine the way it is. Like there's not anything wrong with what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It just, okay. Maybe I've talked myself back around to believing like, okay, maybe they did it okay. But like, I think it's important, when characters are saying things like that, which are super stereotypical or like harmful, that it somehow gets addressed. Otherwise, it's just like, I mean, if you think about all the problematic things about the L word, right? Like all the things that just like didn't get addressed. We don't need to go down there because that's like a total different track, but like it lasts, and it in the community, and people still talk about, I mean, we're talking about it right now on a podcast. Like,
I mean, that's why it's a shame
has
it
an
ends
impact.
the way it does, because of, as you say, this is what completely just kind of destroys what I've just said. And that's why it is disappointing. Not that, spoiler, right? That they don't end up together at the end. Is because Asta had such growth. Like when you think about it in episode 1, 2, the whole Ajaz saga, and then like seeing her even just in like episode 6 where they've already clearly slept together and she is like, oh my god, it was like what was it, like our souls made love or something, it wasn't just physical, it was just so beyond anything she'd ever experienced. It was so and she's having
she
all
was
these
talking about
wonderful...
being seen, like you said, being known,
accepted. And because you would have she could have like slept with her once and had, well, she does kind of have an identity crisis, understandably, at the time, 1991, and her position and never having feelings, etc. But she really, I think she does so well talking not just to herself and thinking it through, but even to Peeplika. Like they do, like she's trying to sort of bounce off of her and learn from her and figure herself out, and all of that happens, and then but I think this is where Peeplika is right, that she wanted an excuse. Like, she did get cold feet. I do think that's part of it. She did get cold feet and was looking for something to
like, this is the one mistake that I've made in our whole relationship, and
Yeah.
now you're ready to just completely throw it away.
Well, should we bring
because
up
of
the
this.
twist?
Oh, I mean, you already said they don't end up together, so I figured we were hashtag woo woo woo,
Sorry, guys.
spoiler. They don't end up together in the end of the show, because
Well, Peeps arguably using inverted commas here, manipulates Astha
she's air quoting manipulates, just so everyone can see.
into being with her. She was, yes, slightly inebriated when she made this decision, sort of for them to get caught. But it wasn't getting caught by her husband, which I think matters.
Did you twig that
What
when it happened? Like in the scene? So
in the scene? No.
Like when Babu and her were in the kitchen talking, it felt like a weird scene to me, and I remember being like, what is going on? There's like, I didn't get anything nefarious. I thought like, oh, Peeplika is just being like, okay, you weirdo, I know you hate me, like, bye, or something. Like, you know, she was just, you know how she is, she's like flirty and sort of like will just like float away in the end. Like, she makes these really grand exits.
She's so grand and just
it
flary.
really is every time. Like, whenever she's like in a situation she doesn't want to be in, or it's like uncomfortable for her, she just kind of like, I'm gesticulating, but like she's like flounces away in like a very I don't know how to describe it, but
she
like
just I can't even say the word, but she does that a lot. That's perfect.
yes,
what you're
constantly
doing.
there are all these conversations she's having where she's like, done with this shit, and like floats away.
She
So
spins, she turns.
Yeah, she kind of spins, yeah. And like there's like, you know, some fluid body movement and all of this, and it's like she's very sensual. Like, that's something about her character, Peeplika, that is like, well, obviously it's nice for me as a viewer, but I think for Astha, like, it really throws her off, which is why I you know, okay, if you've listened to the podcast before, you know how much we enjoy sexual tension here at Peaches and Suits. I specifically really like the slow burn. Like, I mean, it wasn't even that slow. It wasn't even that slow, because she literally goes to her house for the first time and she's like, fuck.
Wow.
I mean, it's been 2 months, right? I think they talk about the passage of time, that he had died 2 months ago.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So it's been time for her to sort of get over her crush on this woman's husband. But she like shows up at this woman's house and she's in a little nightie. Like Steph said, her legs are out. She's got the hair flowing. She's flouncing around, spinning. And I mean, I don't think she's actually spinning in that scene specifically, but she has this vibe of like, just like, it's supposed to be exactly the opposite of Astha, right? Peeplika is very fluid and comfortable with herself. She doesn't mind going against the grain. She doesn't mind if people think she's weird, or who judge her for her choices. And that's supposed to be a juxtaposition to Astha being like this housewife who like follows the rules, who like always, you know, she kind of flirts with boundaries a little bit, because I think they even say about like her having a job is like a big deal. She's educated. I forget what her other examples were.
Yeah, me too. Boundaries is big.
Yeah, boundaries are a big topic. And so you're meant to see the gap between the two of their personalities sort of shrink as the show happens. And that's why the ending is so jarring to me. Putting aside the whole going back to her husband thing, I think like Steph said, I think that was in the cards. I think that was in the cards from the beginning, because Astha, it's a huge, I mean, it's a huge thing, and I don't think that Peeplika ever really understood.
No.
I know that Astha says it in anger about like, you don't have children, you don't understand. Like, I know she says that, but I think it's genuinely true. I think that Peeplika went from being this really overly understanding and patient partner, like, you know, knowing that she'd have to share. And also kind of like she seems a little bit polyamorous. Like, what? It's a little bit unclear to me. She doesn't seem jealous about them having sex. And then all of a sudden she's super possessive. Interesting. We can talk about that. But I thought that the thing that was really jarring about the final episode for me was not actually the whole her ending up as Astha ending up with Haemon again. I think it was the way that Peeplika acted. She sort of turned into someone who was very, I don't know. And I kept saying this when we were watching this final episode. I was like, is it the acting? Is the acting not good? Like, it turned into a bit of a soap opera in a derogatory way. I love soap operas. But like where it's very overacted and like the plot doesn't seem to feel normal for the characters. Suddenly Peeplika was like, she was, I don't know, just being super defensive and without base, right? You know, she really did this thing. And then she was like, I don't know. I just felt like she could have defended herself a little bit better, right? Because both of these women are like eloquent, right? They've been able to communicate sort of.
For sure.
Steph's making faces at me, but
I'm thinking.
I felt like that whole conversation that they had while they were like on the precipice of getting on a plane and going away to Paris together. I think that conversation felt weird to me in the scheme of the show. And I think that they could have done it in a way where, you know, Astha still ends up going back with Haemon for the same reason, even like for, you know, because she feels like she's been betrayed. I'm going on a really long monologue here, but she can feel betrayed and then like explain it that I don't know, similar to how she did it, but I just really was not believing Peeplika's response for some reason. Also, what the fuck happened with her stepdad? I have like a big question mark on my little note here. Like, are they going to explain that at all? Like, I'm glad that Astha doesn't mind, but I mind. I would like to know what happened.
Maybe that we're giving us a big hint that there will be a second season.
Is it for sure?
Not almost, but I say a lot of the streaming service, they respond a lot on YouTube, and they're always sounding really hopeful and like putting hearts even, and just, you know, we'll let you know more soon.
Oh my God.
You know, all that sort of thing. But just in response to what you said, I think I'm going to sort of play devil's advocate a bit because
here we go. All right, here we go.
No,
I'm ready.
I do agree. I don't know if it's partly due to Peeps being like, fuck it. She knows she's lost it, like as in she's lost Astha. This is it. I mean, I thought it was going to be really anticlimactic actually, and that Astha's just going to stay for the kids. No plot twist. No, you know, understandably she's going to stay.
Did you like the plot twist?
I didn't mind. I'd say it all hangs on that scene between them, that last scene between them. But there's a line that Peep says to Astha in like maybe episode 6 actually or something. She says that Astha's asking, "Oh, are you in love?" Like with her, she's asking the question. And because Peeps is so understanding and patient, like Chaos was saying. But Peep says, "Oh, believe me, like when I'm in love or something, I'm a monster." And I don't know if that was foreshadowing. She
brings it up a second time.
Yeah, I think.
And she says, "I told you I'm a monster."
Yeah,
it's when she's trying to get her to come meet her friends, I think.
Yeah,
and they're on the phone, and she's like, "Come on," you know. And she's like, "I told you when I'm in love, I'm a monster."
Yeah,
she says it again.
Yeah. That's what, yeah. So I think that's part of her. It is true to character in that she's just, I say, she said she's insecure, and I think maybe that's the turn. Like Peeplika said, maybe she's become insecure, and that's why she did what she did. And plus, she was drinking. But I think, yeah, she was worried. I think she got scared, and I don't think she's used to those emotions. because maybe with previous relationships, we should say that
it's different.
Peeplika is pansexual and has been with women before. So this isn't her first rodeo, but I think maybe this is, I don't want to say like her deepest love or something, because I don't want to diminish her love for Ajaz, but I think, she's genuinely sort of scared this time. And like she said, all she has are these moments. And so the anger,
she was married to him.
Well, yeah.
It's different because if you think about like why she would feel insecure or why she would feel, okay, now I'm taking back a little bit of what I said, because now that I'm really processing what I was like, it seems really out of character for her to be so defensive in a bad way. Like she didn't defend herself well enough. And I think that I can sympathize with her choice to do what she did, the big plot twist, which we haven't actually said what she did, but I sympathize with that. I think that it's within character. I think even when she was drunk and like what she did, but like it was how she defended her action that really bothered me. Not that she did the thing. That was it. Like in that scene,
true.
That was the crux of my issue with it, was that, Asta's like, tell me you didn't do this. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, no, tell her you did it, but like explain what's happening here, and like in a way that she can understand that, like, yeah, she's struggling, she has kids, she has this thing, but you feel like you're gonna lose her, that she's leaving you, and now here she is, she's leaving you. Like it would have been so good to do that sort of like back and forth where you're like, I was worried that this thing was happening right now. I was worried that was going to happen just over time, that you were going to drift away from me because you just can't leave your kids. And here we are. You said you were leaving your kids, and like you're not going to. And you were waiting for an excuse, and I gave it to you, like you said. Like, you were always going to back out of this.
Exactly.
Like you were never going to actually go through with it. I was shocked that she was going through with it, by the way. Super shocked.
I just couldn't see the children. As soon as children are involved, understandably, I think that puts women, even in real life, it really, you're so screwed really, because you do kind of have to stay. And I don't blame them. That should be her decision to stay, but not necessarily with her husband. And that is preferably what I would have asked for. Okay, fine, she's not going to go with Peeps, but she should regain her self-worth and dignity. And but then the problem is she's still going to be threatened with no access to the children. So I know I'm dreaming a bit with that.
It's a little
but no, that is the thing as well for Peeps and her emotional spectrum, is because Astha said yes. And I think she's like us. She is shocked that she has said yes. So she's made all those plans, and literally last minute, she's got this whole dream. Astha knows she's set it all up, their life together. Like she's seen it all ahead of her, and she's excited. And then you just rip it out from under her feet. And I think that it was probably a bit tough for the writers, because they have to fit it all into one argument. Like if they had just one more episode maybe, because they say it's only one mistake, but that's it, like the plane, she's got to go, they're limited, this is it, and you're gonna not throw it all away. I don't know how else to word it, but it's all going to be lost in this one conversation. That's it, because you know what it's like when you're angry, like they don't even get to sleep on it. Astha doesn't get to go home and maybe go back the next day and see Peeplika, and she's calmed down a little bit and realised no, and they can both apologise and compromise. But there's no opportunity for that. It's like right here and now, she's just found out that what Peeps did, and she's got to decide here and now whether she leaves her children and her whole life that she set up. Like in that moment, I mean, just So
given that she feels she can't trust the person she thought she could trust.
Yeah,
at
but
that time,
I think she's wrong to do that. Like wrong to put all her eggs, just move her eggs from her husband to Peeps. Like she's just, as she said, she's got to do it for herself. It's got to be about her. That's why I thought you should.
They set that up well. I agree. But, they showed her sort of revelation. She was like, I went from being told what to do by one person, and now you're controlling my life. they kind of set it up for her to, maybe in season 2, for her to sort of find her independence somehow.
Yeah. And I think
because
she's
like you
more than
said,
capable.
she did just give it up. Like she said, okay, I'll go. And she didn't even have a suitcase. Did you notice that? I was like, that's so weird. She shows up to Peeplika's place and she's like, okay, we're going to go.
I just thought
And
it's because it would look
she's like-
suspicious if she had a bag. Maybe.
Well, you have to she's just going to leave her whole identity behind. I mean, not that your possessions are your identity, but like she just took some photos and that's it. And that's all she's going to take with her to move to Paris with her girlfriend.
Yeah, but those saris give her rashes. So
I mean,
she can buy new
come
ones.
on.
No, you're right. You're right. But it is still jarring, a bit of a scene. But I think it's possibly because it's the climax and it's long. It isn't. It is given time. I was more annoyed probably when the mother showed up. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I don't think it really lent too much to it. I know that there was supposed to be some big secret reveal thing.
I weren't mad on
But
it.
I honestly thought the mom is just... I find the mom doesn't add anything at all to the storyline.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which
Sorry
is so
to say.
weird because it's such a big secret. Like,
Yeah.
we still don't know. We still don't know what the actual big secret is. We know that Peeplika accused her stepdad of murdering someone. That he pushed her girlfriend off the roof and her girlfriend died.
Yeah.
But we don't know why that happened. We don't know what purpose that served. We know that he's now in prison and that she used to... they had a nice relationship, so it really doesn't make any sense. And it just, like, really doesn't add to the plot at all to me. It doesn't make Peeplika a more complex character at all. Like, everyone's got fucked up relationships with their parents. Like, her mom doesn't have to be the literal devil. I mean, her mom is actually, like, just a horrible person. There's
Yeah,
nothing
she's
good
shit.
about her.
But I don't,
So it's
as
not a
you say.
complicated relationship. It's not complicated. She's a despicable person, and Peeplika should just there's no love between them. So it's not like she's like fighting for her mom to love her when she doesn't love her. It would be, that would be interesting, right? Like if your mom is like, has animosity toward you because of the stepdad thing, her mom just was always bad. What? Like her mom is not a complex character. She's fucking evil.
Exactly.
So it doesn't add anything. There's no, dissonance or like, I just wish my family would accept me, or any
she's
of
not
that.
bothered. Like, well, she
She's
is
just
bothered.
like,
She's
fuck
hurt,
you.
but
Like,
she's
I've
done.
written you off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck them.
I'm
I like the backstory on it. I like for Peeps. Of course, I want to know more about her, and I'm glad that exists. But I don't need this to be a murder story. The story itself is
You don't
great.
want it to be murder?
No, I don't need an added thread of something else. I don't need a big secret. I don't need any of that. Like even for a second season, there is enough going on between Astha and Peeplika. There is enough. There's enough obstacles. I don't need this secret. Like, why are you making this into like Mrs. Marple or something? Like, I don't need Sherlock.
The plot is interesting, and also, there's like the political climate, the like Muslim versus Hindu, like the
riots at the time,
state of the state, like the everything that's happening around them adds to it as well.
Yeah,
They didn't. They didn't need to also go all killing Eve.
Yeah, yeah, because I didn't like it straight away. As soon as Asta went to see her mum, dumb.
Yeah,
Why are you
that made no
going?
sense to me at all.
Oh, I was.
It did make a little sense. It's within her character to try and patch things up.
It is. She's so good.
But
She's
how
such a
did
good
she-
person.
Okay, listen. This is another thing that I think is hilarious. It's like, okay, hilarious is not the right word because I think there's this thing between, like, I will say specifically because I'm American, the like independence from the family thing that we have here, the like, we're very much like less family integrated. So when Asta's like, she's your mother after all of this, like, after her mom has said this horrible venomous stuff to her about, this is the final episode. I was thinking to myself, like, at this point, now. You've seen her, Astha, you've seen her mother, you've seen her say some really despicable things, some never anything good. How can you still advocate for Peeplika to be respectful and like deferential to her?
Yeah.
Like that. I think it's important to kind of see that. It shows like their situation, and it shows Astha's character still, that she really is going to care about family.
Yeah.
Her family. Like
It's true.
There's a disconnect there between, Astha says to Peeplika, if I leave, my children will never speak to me again. And Peeplika says, no, it's fine. Children are resilient. You know, you'll be fine. And I think it was really good the way that they showed this scene, because Peeplika has no relationship with her parents.
Yeah.
Like, on what grounds or on what authority can she say like, oh, it's fine if you fuck up as a parent, your kids will still, I mean, arguably she's not fucking up, she's just gay. But like, if you do something that like hurts your children, they'll be fine. You know, you eventually will come back together or whatever. Meanwhile, Peeplika is like not gonna, you know, there's no reconciliation in the future for her with her family.
No.
She's speaking about this. I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting that they show like there's this woman who's very much family oriented, and then there's this woman who is not.
Yeah.
And it's part of why there's a disconnect between them, because they don't really understand that aspect of each other.
Yeah. Peeps is really good. I mean, she is great at like, oh no, of course your kids should come first. But as you say, again, sort of a bit of a parallel with Clarina. Peeps is like Marina in that, love, you know, will win above all. Like, of course they will, you know, optimistic about the children. It'll be fine. Everything's going to be rosy. Why? Because we love each other. And that's all that matters. And I say, I'm amazed that Astha even went anywhere near that way of thinking, that she even come round to that. So, but you're right. There was, despite her support for Astha's situation, and as you say, and her family setup, she still can't empathise 100%. But as you say, same way Astha can't empathise with her situation, because arguably she's loved. Arguably, like her mum, her dad who's passed away, and even in a way maybe her in-laws, but I can't talk about them. They anger me so much. But
I think, and it's not even just about love. There's something about like loyalty and duty.
Absolutely.
And I think that those kind of are love in a way. Like it's sort of like people who really value family. It's not like about affection for each other. It's like the role that you play in each other's lives is just important in itself.
Yeah, neither of them
I
are
see
wrong.
that as someone who doesn't experience that, but like, yeah, okay. Like I see that. And I think it was actually really good I really enjoyed that as a part of their sort of friction between the two of them. I thought that was a good added point for them beyond just the kids themselves.
Yeah, they're
you know, because that's the thing. It wasn't just kids. It was like,
I don't mean this to sound awful,
family,
but
her
they
husband.
play a small role in a way in terms of being
The
seen and heard. I'm like,
I don't think I even saw their faces like maybe one time.
Sorting out pillows and
It was good. I think it was good. I liked the way they handled
it's true, because this isn't a kid thing. Like I don't want to. No offense, but you know, I don't want to. The only thing that did it kind of as well for me was the world unseen in terms of the children. You know, of course they're there and they exist and they're important, but we don't need like
Oh, actually, yeah, same exact thing.
we can understand.
They were kind of there. We knew that they were there.
Yeah,
but they weren't like fully fleshed out characters. It's like their existence was a character in itself.
Yeah.
The children have a huge part in the show, but like not as actors themselves, like little characters.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
they can show me in the writing how important they are, which they do. You know, without having them be at the forefront all the time.
Yeah, it's different than, you know how, gosh, what's her name? The little kid from Imagine Me and You.
Oh, sugar tits.
That's an example of the other way around. Obviously, it's not her kid. so it's not the same. But like that kid has like an actual character. She has a role. She has lines. She has like, you remember her. Like I don't remember her name.
She's great. I feel bad. She's so great.
But I remember her.
Yeah.
Is it Henrietta? What's her name?
You could be right. Don't listen.
And they call her some H. I think they just call her
Oh,
H.
yeah.
Short for Henrietta.
You're right. Listen, I forgot.
Anyway.
Yeah, names.
But and that was different. I was just saying, like, you know, that's a way that kids are shown as like meaningful in a different way versus like this sort of like omnipresent. She always has to think of her kids, even though they don't have really like faces or characters. Or,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I never forgot that they existed, as you say, you know, so. You know what? We said we wouldn't make this an hour.
oh my God. And it's really long. And I feel like I actually have a lot more. There's a couple more things I want to say.
Should we do it in 2 parts?
We could possibly do it in 2 parts. Or when we listen back, we'll see how rambly it is.
Yeah,
in the
we'll see.
beginning.
Yeah, especially at the beginning. I didn't know where to begin with this. There's
it's
so
fine.
much.
And this marks the end to part 1 of our discussion of The Married Woman. To continue listening, please head over and click on part 2.